Hey everyone, Mark here with Promevo TV. I got my very own Samsung Chromebook Plus, and I want to tell you all about it. Let's check it out. The Samsung Chromebook Plus is one of the most hotly anticipated devices to come out this year, and I'm honored here at Promevo to be one of the first people to get their hands on it. Now, if you're not familiar with Promevo, Promevo is a premier Google partner, and we focus solely on our customers' Google lives. We here at Promevo want to engage with as many people as possible to share all of our offerings, from things like G Suite, to Chrome devices, to software solutions like our very own G Panel and G Scholar, to help build and maintain your Google life needs. Before we go too far, let's go ahead and toss up a quick spec sheet on screen for everyone. I took the liberty of putting the Octane score on there as well. I'll leave it up for a few seconds, but if you're really interested in reading all the details, get ready to pause. Okay, the first thing you're going to notice on this is how beautiful the display is. It's got a native resolution of 2400 by 1600, and there are a ton of available resolutions ranging as low as 600 by 400 up all the way to that native resolution, so there's plenty of options available for you there. The screen itself has a glossy finish, but it still works very well in direct sunlight as well as any other overhead lighting. The brightness really stands out too. It's actually one of the brightest displays I've seen recently without any sort of question. Now, I had a few questions come in about the 3:2 display ratio, which I think is really cool, particularly in comparison to another popular convertible Chromebook that's recently hit the market. Now, while this screen is smaller on paper at 12.3 inches, if you do the math, there's actually more surface area on this one, so you're really not missing out on anything. Now, this new ratio also helps give the device an interesting form factor overall, and I think it actually makes it feel a little bit more like a tablet. The new hexa-core ARM processor is really impressive. That's 6 cores. We had some questions come in on this while we were making this video. Now, a lot of those were surrounding the perceived lag on the device from a review at CES. Now, I tried to duplicate the test as best as possible, and I really didn't have quite the same results. I ran 2 Play Store apps, multiple browser windows, and a video running in the background, and I really noted very little slowdown on the processor end. I bring this up because sometimes you'll hear the word lag thrown around, and that'll be used in a way to reflect things controlled by internet speeds. So I kind of had to wonder if maybe some of the issues in that review at CES could have been due to notoriously bad conference Wi-Fi access. That said, if we're talking about raw computing power here, there's the potential on this device that apps that I used may not have been as taxing as compared to maybe in other reviewers. It's just good to keep all of that in mind. Regardless, for me, this seems powerful enough to do all of my day-to-day tasks, and honestly, having access to the Play Store is huge for me. Oh, speaking of the App Store though, it's full-fledged now. We have full screen support for almost all applications, which is really huge. The App Store's functionality and support is so good that you would almost guess this is an Android tablet at a distance. Seriously, I've noticed really no difference in the usage there compared to my actual own tablet. I think that's great. And I think the ability to access those apps brings a ton of additional functionality to the world of Chrome, and I am so happy that it's being pushed on top-tier devices like this one. Now let's take a look at the new Digitizer pen. It may look familiar to you if you've ever used the S Pen on the Samsung Galaxy Note devices, and they're very similar. The pen allows you to directly perform screen captures, turn the pen into a magnifying glass on screen, create notes, and much more. The pen is perfectly responsive and allowed me to write and draw with ease, so writing notes has been really awesome. They give you a large range of tools and options for the pen, so you can write very thin, small notes, or use giant paintbrush strokes, which conveniently make your handwriting look way better than it actually is. I know I've received a lot of questions on this as an art tablet, so rather than actually dive into it too much here, I'm just going to do an extra video soon where we really see how this handles itself as an artist device. My immediate feelings though are that it's going to work very well, but I'd really like to test out some specific suggested applications to ensure that I have all the information right for you all. So subscribe and keep watching. I'll have that out to you here pretty soon, I hope. Battery life is very solid. Samsung's quoted us at 10 hours, but on a video loop test, I landed right around 8 hours and 40 minutes. In standard usage, I actually think I'm about to beat 10 hours total. It's a little harder to gauge that way, but so far I'm really happy with the battery life, especially when I'm at lower brightness levels. All right, let's take a look at the keyboard. So the form factor of the screen required some changes to the keyboard, so I want to warn you that it may take a little getting used to. It's a compact size keyboard, it's a little squarer, and some of the keys are a little smaller than you might be expecting. In my experience, it's really only affected my use of the backspace and the tab keys, which are much smaller, but a few days into this and I'm using it pretty much normally. I just recommend giving it a chance to get your hands used to it. Now, along those lines, I would have enjoyed having a little more keyboard travel on the keys to give us a better tactile feel overall. I think it would have added a little more of like a premium feel to this device, which otherwise has premium written all over it. I also think backlighting the keyboard would have been excellent, but the keyboard is painted with very reflective ink, so you can actually still really see the keys pretty easily in the dark, just using the screen as your main light source. The trackpad also, not to be outdone, is very large, has a really satisfying click to it when pressed, and offers solid palm rejection when typing and swiping. Now, if you're using the digitizer pen, the trackpad will still receive your input, which isn't really surprising to me, but I had a feeling that might get asked in the future, so just be careful, it won't reject your palm quite as much as you're prepared for, perhaps. Samsung went and pushed the new USB Type-C standard, which is awesome. This makes for a really easy, fast charging, as well as connectivity. A small drawback here, however, for some, is that there's no USB 3.0 port on the device, which made it a little difficult for me to use my security key to unlock the device on my work account, as well as to use any thumb drives or other portable media that use the old standard. Now, I know the push is to get everything on the cloud, so it truly excels there, but these are just a few small things that I thought it would be very pertinent to mention, just as sort of a heads up for you. I know I mentioned earlier that it's a convertible style Chromebook, and that's great. The hinges feel really tough and sturdy, but they move with ease, so I'm not really trying very hard here to flip it around. The keyboard itself shuts off right around the 180-degree mark, so you're not going to have to worry about the keyboard receiving input from you if you like touch it on the back while you're trying to use it as a tablet or in tent mode. The screen itself is really responsive to the rotation, so you also won't have to worry about any weird lagging when switching form factors. But it's also not so sensitive that you're constantly yelling at it to stop being fickle. I hate that. It's really great though, seriously. One other heads up, there's no rubber stoppers on the edge of the device, so if you want to put it in tent mode, it's not bad. There's a nice textured feel to the metal, but there's no rubber stopper here, so it might slide around a little bit if you're not being careful. I think I've covered all of its bases, or at least most of them. I have no complaints so far. I think this is a really great convertible Chromebook from Samsung, and I think it's going to do really well in the enterprise and EDU world, but I think it might shine even more brightly in the consumer market as well. I'm super impressed, and really all it's done is just drive up my excitement for the upcoming Samsung Chromebook Pro, which hopefully we'll be hearing more about soon. Alright, if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share this video. If you have any comments or questions, leave them on this video, and I'll address them either here in the comments or in a future piece. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.